Hi everyone, today I want to talk about how to practice efficiently. This is a question that has been asked numerous times and I thought I need to make a video about it and cover the most important, or what I think the most important steps are to practice efficiently. So of course practice is a highly individual topic and everyone kind of knows what works for them and what doesn't, but still I'm here to give you some tips and hopefully make your practice more efficient. So the first thing I want to talk about is your practice environment. Of course, in most cases you cannot influence or choose your environment, but still I would like to make at least one comment about it. So in most books and online articles that I read and that you might find online or in books, they suggest that you need an absolutely dead quiet place. And I think that is actually not an ideal situation, because if you can only concentrate in a place that is absolutely quiet, you will after some time get used to it and can actually not perform in a place that is noisy. So when I practice at home, I like to open the window a little bit or get some kind of outside sound or noise, and this is for a very specific reason. It's because later on we will play in concerts or in front of people or for an audition, wherever it is, and it will not be that quiet, and this moment should not surprise you. So you want to be experienced in having this outside noise and having rumbling and people coughing, because it's going to happen in the real world. What I absolutely love to do is to practice in university or conservatory, because you can hear all the other people practicing as well, and it creates kind of a positive echo chamber in a way, because you hear the other people practice and then you can have several reactions for your own. One would be that it motivates you to practice better, or second of all, that you now feel that you have to actually perform a little bit better and you get a bit competitive. And the third one is of course that you can hear new repertoire and you hear an interesting piece and you're like, oh, that piece sounds very interesting, I want to learn it. So that's exactly why I think it's such a good environment to practice outside in either music school or conservatory or university, wherever you are. Practice outside the most you can. It has also the added benefit that you practice on different instruments, because when you're at home, you always practice on the same one. But if you go to a music school or conservatory or wherever you are, you get different practice rooms and they have different pianos. So the next thing is your schedule. And schedules are important, not only in practice, but in the life too. So set yourself some dates that you want to finish things on. For example, if you have a concert or an audition coming up, then of course you know when you need to perform certain pieces. But that might not be all the time for you. You might have periods where you don't have any concerts or any auditions. So you should make yourself a schedule. You should say, I want to finish this sonata or this piece, whatever, by the end of this month. And then you follow through with your plan. Of course, it's important to be realistic in your goals and expectations. So you cannot just learn a new piece and say, okay, by the end of this week I'm gonna be able to play it. That makes no sense. So give yourself time, but also give yourself a deadline or a time limit, because it has been shown that we work better when we are stressed. By the way, a great way to do that, if you're not in a concert environment or music school or somewhere where you can give concerts, is to do it through social media. For example, you say, by the end of this month I will publish the first movement of this sonata on my Instagram or something like that. And you're gonna do it, or you can actually tell people you're gonna do it. So then you really have a stress and the motivation to actually follow through. The next thing is time management. Time management is so important, especially when practicing. Let's say you have 1.5 hours and you need to learn a Beethoven, a Chopin etude and a Bach. And you have 1.5 hours. Is it gonna work to learn or practice all these pieces in 1.5 hours? The answer is of course no. You cannot just play your whole repertoire every day and practice it every day. That is not a good concept. Instead, you should rotate between which day do you do which repertoire, or let's say which practice session do you do which repertoire, because you cannot just manage to play all of your pieces every single time. So I always suggest to work on your weaknesses. Always work on your weaknesses, and eventually those weaknesses will become strengths, and then the other places or other movements or passages will become weaknesses, and then you work on those, and eventually you just raise your level until everything is a strength. I'm always reminded of that one image when learning a new language, which I will show right now, that you need to get the horse kind of to be equal in all aspects. You cannot just have a great first movement and then the fourth movement you're like, I don't know what's going on. And the last thing I want to talk about is what should you actually be doing when you're practicing, in which order. So the first thing I do is I play through the whole piece, and I immediately after I played it, I fix any passages that went wrong. For example, did I have a memory slip, or did I have a passage that just didn't work? Were there any kind of accidents that happened? I immediately fix those mistakes. Then I will repeat passages that actually worked well, but can use a little bit of polishing. So this is just the last kind of level when you have a passage that just works, but you still need to keep working on it and polish it just to maintain this high level. By the way, because some people asked, do you do scales, do you do exercises, and how do you split between those? My answer is I do etudes. I don't really do exercises, but I try to do etudes like 15 to 20 minutes every day, even if I'm in a hurry or even if I have completely different repertoire. I still do some Chopin etudes or Liszt or something like that, at least 15 to 20 minutes every day. The reason for that is I just want to maintain a high level of technique, and sometimes it's good even for 15 minutes to activate a certain technique, and of course you can rotate between etudes, but I just think it's very important to keep at your absolute best when it comes to technique. You cannot mess about when it comes to technique, because the technique of course unlocks and enables many other things that can give you freedom at the piano, but that's a discussion for a different day. Join my channel now to access special member perks such as member shoutouts in all videos and also my members only live streams, as well as to support my channel.